Okay, so get some tea, I'll tell you what happened. Today I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to tell you how I fixed, how I got back control of my accounts. Just not great. And then just a little bit about YouTube, a little bit just about how I'm feeling. Tuesday night, I was having someone help me download something for a photo editing software. And I was in the room and suddenly I hear like this whimper, which was like not normal from a person, I guess, downloading files. And then very shortly afterwards, followed by the words, "Oh my God, I've just ruined your life." So immediately I understood kind of what had happened, and it all happened amazingly quickly, because within moments of, "Oh my God, I just ruined your life," I started getting alerts on my phone of people trying to access my account. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was like, "Oh, well, is that you? Nope, that's not me." Okay. Immediately I went onto my Google account. I tried to access it, and I was locked out of everything. I was locked out of everything so quickly. We're looking back at the reports right now, but it had to have been something automated, because it just happened so quickly, and I was, trying to recover the email. Like you just go on and there are these forums of like how to recover your email, and you're doing the whole thing, and then at the end of it, the person had put in a security key, which is kind of the ultimate level of like authentifying, I guess who you are. And so I was no longer able to access any of my accounts. When I heard, "I've just ruined your life," I knew, my mind immediately went to YouTube. I think probably my mind should have immediately went to, my banks or whatnot, but I'm a photographer, I'm a YouTuber. I don't know. I don't make a lot of money, and it's not the first thing. That is not kind of my pride and whatnot. So, I was able to lock, all of my cards, and I did contact my banks. But it immediately went to YouTube, and I knew, even at the beginning, I knew it was going to be YouTube that was hurt. Like, I knew it was going to be the channel. And my mind was already doing this thing where it was like, "Oh no, like, it's okay, like, you didn't always like it there anyways, and you always wanted to start a new channel, so this is gonna be your chance. Like, you can start a new channel, it'll be fine, everything's fine." And like, my mind was preparing for it to be gone, because I just knew, like, what a jackpot of, hijacking, a Google account and then getting a YouTube channel with it, right? Sweet. Like, I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if they were just gonna change the channel, delete the channel, like do a bunch of things to the channel. I didn't know. And the idea of it becoming something so different than what I, had brought it up to be, had groomed it to be, absolutely killed me. And the idea of maybe somebody taking that away and me not getting to say goodbye to you all the way that I wanted to properly, like just made me cry. Let me tell you kind of like how it happened. So we stopped the download quite early because it looked suspicious, and it takes momentary lapses in judgment, but there were a couple of things that enabled this to happen, and sometimes you're just not on your guard. You happen to click the wrong link, you know, the ones that happen to be, you know, the advertisements instead of the actual link. I had disabled two-step authentication. I'm not sure if I was traveling or something, and then it was giving me a bunch of problems, and I couldn't access, you know, like my phone and the authenticator. So like I had disabled it, and then I don't think I re-enabled it again. Just a couple of things that was not secure, and I thought that I was doing a good job, and I was not. That was, you know, now looking back at everything, like everybody should look through, like, do you have, you know, like the antivirus programs? Do you have like multiple step authentications? There is a compromise between what's convenient and to be convenient and then to be secure. And one is just like super painful and super cumbersome, but until you've had, you know, and I've heard friends and people having, you know, thousands of dollars being stolen and having pretty much your life changed with like a very simple mistake, a very simple motion that, you know, anybody could just make, and I could probably make again. And so I feel like until you've had something super scary happen to you, you kind of don't look into it. But I definitely, like, I recommend that everybody find someone to look into it and just, you know, like, ask yourself about, like, the things that are important. Are those things secure? Because my YouTube account and my Google account were not. And so what also happened was, and this is stupid and now hindsight, whatever, I have my East Meets Kitchen account forwarded to my main account, but then that was also the recovery account, and then so there was this loop of, like, you know, if you wanted to recover it, you know, so essentially the person that I guess hijacked everything. So there were a couple of things that were going on. There was ransomware first off, and because we had stopped the download so early on, I never saw the ransom note. But what was happening to my computer was that all of the files were being encrypted, so I could no longer access them. And now looking at the reports afterwards, there was a ransom note. It was $1,000 to get all of your files back. But if you pay within the next like 4 days or something, you get 50% off, right? Yes, capitalism. So 50% off. So I don't know. So there was that bit, but then there were also viruses, and the virus that ran, you know, just so quickly locked me out of all of my accounts, put a different phone number in, put a different password in, added the security lock, the USB security lock to it. So I was locked out of. I was locked out of my life because it makes you think of like how many things that you have stored on a particular thing and how dependent I am of Google, because all of my emails are there, all of the important passwords were stored there. You know, I have my Drive with all of my files. I have Google Photos. It's all backed up there. Like, that is my life. That is, you know, everything. And of course, finally, YouTube. Like, my life was so connected to Google. And for me to think now of like, you idiot, you didn't secure the things that are most valuable in your life. And it's just something that everybody can fall into. Like, you get busy, or like you disable something, or it's just like, it's not something that you like think of like, okay, like, am I like cyber secure? But like, that's absolutely what you need to do. And so it's like so dark, because I can think back, and I was just like, yeah, and then I think it was my brother who was telling me that, okay, well, like, yeah, like the account turned into Tesla, Tesla One, and we're streaming, you know, fake Elon giving a speech. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that like, like, and then eventually they took down the whole channel. Everything was taken down. So, which I guess is better than Elon. So that's what ended up happening. What was really scary was, so the virus bit of it, I believe, just from reports, that they had installed a VPN where all of my data was going through it. So if I had things open up on my screen where they could have access to it, or like, you know, you can log into Google or Gmail or whatever, they could also do that as well. And we, you know, and so it took a little bit of time to note that, and you know, for them to be able to see the emails that I had, to access any of the sites that I was accessing. So there was that. Eventually we figured that out, but yeah, there was still the, you know, like the 300 passwords that, and all of the information that I had on Google, and everything was hemorrhaging. Like, probably one of the most frustrating things of that night was knowing that I was attacked. Data was just going out, and I didn't know how to stop it. I couldn't recover any of my accounts. I had tried, I had looked up everything. I couldn't do it. Phone numbers had been changed, passwords had been changed, everything had been changed. And then when I go to look at, you know, you look up, like, my account has been hacked, my account has been hijacked. Like, who do I contact, Google? Like, who, like, do you have an email? Do you have a phone number? Like, I need somebody to talk to. And what you're going to find out if you do that is you're gonna find out that you don't get much information at all. And these big companies, they do it purposely because they don't want to receive all of this, like, you know, false positive mail about that. So I ended up, I found this number, you know, Californian Google number, but it was pretty much for probably like product services, and I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody, like a physical person. It just kept on, I mean, automation, right? It just kept on moving me to like more automated things, and like, oh, okay, like, well, you know, if this is about your account and being locked out, you should visit blah, 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 support dot, blah, 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 dot. There wasn't like an email, like I think the matter was so pressing, like it was so important, like, and I can imagine like people who, you know, like lose all of this money and information and seeing like really bad things happen, like, you know, all you want to do is like, you're like, how do I fix this? And so, yeah, that there was none. And so the best things that we found were, you know, going onto forums where people had been talking about, like, imagine your life being hacked and all of your, you know, bank information and like your life like just going away, and you having to be at like a forum and literally community people are sharing their experiences and what to do. And so what some of the people had recommended was, okay, like tweet or at YouTube creators or at YouTube. Go on to social media and message them so that, you know, some social media kid intern can, you know, come and help you. And And so that's exactly what I did. I went onto Instagram, and I was, the more people that at them about a specific problem, the more likely that they're gonna be like, oh, okay, like we should look into this. And so I had followers at YouTube creators and YouTube, and we also messaged YouTube creators on Twitter. And they didn't respond for a little bit, and then maybe an hour later they did, and I wasn't on, but then I had to go back on 30 minutes later, and they had said, oh, okay, like what's going on, and it's crazy because like to get Google's attention on something, like imagine if someone was like stealing money and information. Like imagine if you were like talking to a bank. Like it was like that big, but it was just like, oh well, like the only way to, like get your life back is to like DM someone on social media. Absolutely crazy. And so we're typing, and it was just confusing. It was like, okay, like what information do you have? Whatever. And then eventually, I guess after some talking, we were sent a form to fill out. And a lot of the form, some of it's really crazy because it was like, like what date did you start your YouTube channel, and what is the URL of the channel, or like the specific ID number. And because that person had taken down my YouTube channel, I no longer had this like ID number, which reminds me that I should go and I need to like go and write certain things down and like literally like stick it under the bed or something. Like it has made me realize that some things need to be like physically written down or like memorized or something. And so you had to fill out this form. Some of it was tricky because I didn't have access to, like, even if I had put it down somewhere, those notes, I would have kept it on Google. I would have kept it on Keep. I would have kept it on Drive. Things that were important, like, like photos of my channel, or like something, like it was all on Google. I could not access any of it. Like, never have I been so, like, felt so stupid about being so connected to just like one thing. And everything is being secured to the max. Like, I'm spending a fair bit of time, fair bit of money, just to make sure that this, less likely to happen. And so, so we ended up filling out this form that took a little bit of time, and then what the form said was, okay, this can take up to 24 hours to, and when things are being like stolen from you, it's like you just like, I don't know, it's a very weird thing. It's like you opening your house and like seeing people steal things, but then being like, you can't really do anything. So like people, and you just know that people are like taking more things, and you're like, okay, 24 hours, okay. So then you guys are like, well, yeah. In between that, I had called my relative. I called my relative who happens to work at Google, and this had happened before, but he didn't really know exactly what to do. And I said, okay, like, if you could, like, if you think of something, or if there was somebody at the company that you could just contact, like, if you know of anything, like, I'd really appreciate it, like, whatever, like, just, that person is in the US, so I had to make a lot, like, there were like international calls, like I'm in London, and it was just very hectic. So I said, like, if you know of anybody, just like, could you just please tell them, like, this is my channel, this is my account information, and just pretty much what had happened. And then in between that time, he had emailed me back, and I didn't see it at first because I was busy calling some of my banks here, and also like in America. But the banks here, like, some of them they're not, it wasn't during business hours, and that was very hard as well. And yeah. I mean, it's crazy the amount of things that I can just like access on my phone, and so I had to just lock everything and call and just be like, listen, like, don't send information to this email, like I don't have access to it. It was just really, really horrible. So anyways, eventually I call him back, and he's asking me all of these questions because apparently he was also filling out a form. And so there is like an internal form that I guess people within the company can fill and to send to another person in the company to verify that, okay, like that is indeed your account. And he had to say his relation to me, but also like a bunch of these additional questions. And I'm like, just things to prove that you are you. And I am very, 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 very lucky that I knew someone in the company. And so he was able to fill that out. He sent it over, and I would say literally within 2 hours. Literally within 2 hours. I don't know, maybe even shorter, but I was up the whole night. I don't know. They had sent him something back, and they had sent it to me, and they said, yeah, we know that you have been hijacked, and you have access to your Google account again. Fabulous. YouTube and Google are a little bit separate, but obviously, long story short is that when I got access to my Google account, nothing else could change about the YouTube account. And eventually I went to bed for like, 2 hours or so. And I think by 6 a.m. in the morning, they had said, okay, yeah, we saw that your YouTube had been hijacked. We have cleaned out what was there, and we have reverted it back to how it was before. And in the next couple of hours, the numbers and the views and everything should normalize and go back to the way that they were. So I don't know how long it would have taken had I not known someone at Google that was able to pretty much get it done. And I'm so thankful for that, but I also gave my feedback to Google and to that person of, this is completely unfair. This, like, I was almost guilty because I felt like it was it was like a shipwreck, and then, like these safety ships were coming, and they just, they said like, you, because you knew that person, like, come on this boat. And I see like the rest of the people that might have gotten, hacked and their identity stolen and not known like what to do, and not being able to do anything because there's no way to contact them. Like, that is the part of these companies, like that's like the bad part. You can't contact them. They don't want people to contact them. You can't contact them. There's no phone number. There's no like email. Like, you have to like find some way to like get to once you get to them, they move fairly swiftly. But it is the getting to them part first that a lot of people will not be able to do. And so, yeah, it might have taken a day. Like, had you known, so, contact YouTube creators, go on Twitter, go on Instagram, go on, whatever, like whatever to possibly get their attention, get people to get their attention. That's, that would be the normal way. Check out forums. Forums were so important. They were actually super helpful. People with experiences like that before. And then, yeah, if you're lucky enough to know of anyone that works at Google, yeah, it's just like shitty because I hate when it's like, oh, well, like, somebody, that's how you get things done. But it was just so scary. Like, the first couple of hours were just so scary. And I can't imagine like for a person that didn't have anyone on the inside to be like, oh, I have to wait a full 24 hours knowing that all of my information and all of them, you know, within even that couple of hours, I had people add their addresses onto my, you know, like my Amazon account. I had these weird emails of changes, and so that's why, you know, the following day I had to go through like 300 accounts and passwords that was on Google and just like putting it on somewhere else. Last thing is just a bit about YouTube, what I took away from the experience. I had wanted to do a video, and maybe I still will because now I'm sure that this video is too long. A little bit about me and a little bit about YouTube, because we're onwards to the road to 100,000, and on YouTube, on just getting here. And maybe I'll still do that or not. Because I think the past couple of years, recent years, being on YouTube hasn't always been that fun, because maybe I'll talk about this later. It hasn't always been that fun because, one, you know, you spend all of your time on it, and like you can't like feed yourself. There's no, I know that people always say there's no money there, and like, oh, you know, like this will help with like sponsorships or whatnot, but you know, I've been doing this for, you know, 7+ years. It's not easy. Like I've always needed to have like a second job. I've always needed to like teach or like to work in a restaurant or like, you know, like I like photography and I like food styling, but yeah, there's not always jobs there either. And so I've always kind of felt like being on YouTube, it's just tough in multiple ways because it does take up so much time, and it is like a full-time job, and yet people like, they're like, well, you know, it's just YouTube. Like, yeah, I spend all my time after work, you know, with creators and like watching YouTube so that I can be ready for the next day and not, you know, blow my brains out working the same stuff every day. So I find that we're pretty important, but it's always stressful. One, because of pay, and then two, with the algorithm, I kind of feel like, well, you know, you either pay someone, okay, and then you tell them to shut up, or maybe if you don't pay them, at least, you know, spread their information, spread their word. And as a creator that likes to constantly stay creative and to constantly do new things and to constantly be having you learn, but then also having me learn with you, you know, YouTube doesn't promote new stuff. I knew quite early on that they always wanted me to be making things like dumplings. They always wanted me to do noodles. They always wanted me to do, you know, like just the easy stuff. And I personally, like, I know that most people go onto YouTube for recipe videos. It's just because like they want to find something easy that they can make for dinner. Like they want something easy and delicious and whatever that they can make for dinner. And like, it's just not me. Like, sometimes I want to show you some easy and quick things to do for dinner. And yes, like I also like tofu recipes too and quick recipes. Like, yes, I like those too. But I also am like a human being. I like to vary my content so that I can stay sane. And so YouTube hasn't been that for me either in terms of financial support, pretty much never. But then also, if not that, then maybe you could, you know, help me promote my content, to promote me. But it hasn't done that recently either, and so it's not been a great place. Yeah, you know, and yeah, I mean, I think like as a creator, you always want to be able to share your work and to, you know, like see how the audience reacts. And I just feel like when I try to do something different, like nobody watches it, and so it doesn't matter. Sucks. Yeah, I don't know. When I knew that I lost the channel. I think the things that made me sad and that made me upset was just, one, I had already said, like how I built the channel to be, it's just such a, it's a fun place for me. It's a good place for me. And to have that changed was just like, but two was that, that I wasn't able to say goodbye to you all as I had wanted to, because I've thought about it before. I've thought about it a couple of times before of like, okay, how do I say goodbye to people that I've known like closer than a lot of close friends now, like for years, like some of you I've talked to for years, and not being able to do that, and not being able to end that relationship the way that I wanted. And so I'm looking ahead a little bit, because sometimes for the new year, I always say to myself, okay, well, this year, you know, maybe you want to try a strategy of like just, you know, selling your soul and just following the algorithm and doing dumplings and doing noodles and doing faux meats, like just doing that, and then you'll make it big. So, you know, like that could be one of them. My ones for the past couple of years was like, you know, don't worry about the algorithm, just do what you like you do what you like, and then the audience will follow, and do what you're passionate about. And then I end up getting sad like middle of the year when nobody's watching anything. But from this experience, I kind of, I realized like one of the things that I value the most is being able to talk to you, is the community aspect of YouTube, is like people sharing information in the comments and talking to one another and us like learning new things together. It is that community aspect. And a part of me, like a big part of me, really likes that, because that's the kind of relationship that I want to garner. And it is also the type of relationship that like I don't think that YouTube promotes at all. Like I think that like having a community aspect to your channel and you know, like learning and exploring together and like saying hi and doing whatever, like I think that that's super like anti-algorithmic, whatever. And so yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't even know if I'm gonna do it. Like I don't know. Like I want there to be, I want it to feel more community at the cost of, you know, maybe views. And for me to be like, you know, you've done this for 7 years now, you're never gonna be like rich off of it, it's fine. And I never wanted to be. But also you don't need the numbers, it's okay. Like, why don't you just do things that you're interested in and things that you know that people are also interested in it as well. And maybe the relationship and the communication is how you can judge how you're doing as a channel. So I wasn't going to do this. I think it's a particularly sad story, but I wanted to share this. I'm not sure if I should, because I think it might make some people sad, but I had a viewer, an audience, Shane, when I posted up the community, in the community tab, that I had been hacked, and they were like, how do we know it's you? How do we know this is real? It reminded me of like my mom. So get ready. When she was at the hospital, for a little bit of time when she passed away from cancer a couple of years ago. So she was there for a couple months then, and you know, probably with the drugs and not eating and just like, you know, the hospital and being sick. She, like, one day she woke up and she asked me, I think she looked around and just like where am I? She asked me, how do I know that this is real? How do I know that you're real? How do I know that this is real? How do I know that this, like, geez, this like state that I'm being in. Like, how do I know that this is real? And I took her hand as I'm taking yours, and I said, okay, can you feel this? Yeah. And then I said, you know I love you, right? And she nodded. You know that I love you guys. I cherish just being able to share my information and you know, saying hi and that kind of stuff. And so she said, yeah. And I said, well then, that is real enough for now. That's good enough for me. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. So I hope that that's good enough for you all now. Just know that I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and the support always. And yeah, I'm gonna come back with more videos. I had this idea for fermentation week and just never did it. So much koji in the house now. Okay, that's it for me. Yeah, I'll see you all again next time, okay?